You got the best of both worlds. Great to see you. How are you? Good to see you.
Good morning.
We are very excited to have all of you join us today at this kickoff for our Broad Street City Line electric charging station. First, let me say a great big welcome to Governor McKee, Senator Reid, Senator Whitehouse, Mayor Hopkins, Mayor Elorza, Ryan Bartlett from the FTA, Terry Gray and his team from EEM, Nick Ucci and his crew from OER, Brian Schuster and the National Grid team, our RIPTA board members, city council members from Cranston and from Providence, Mel Scoron of Green Energy Consumers Alliance, and Sue Anderblock from the Nature Conservancy. We are thankful for all of you being able to be with us today. We also have representatives of Fuss & O'Neill, Bond, and we thank them for joining us today as well. And let me specifically thank Greg Nordine and James Canty of our RIPTA staff, Janet Coit and Carol Grant for being visionary in this program. And specifically, let me thank Marisa Albanese from Grid, because she continued to be persistent in making this a reality. So we thank you for all of your work, Marisa. Today marks a major turning point for RIPTA in the electrification of our fleet. 3 years ago, we began a pilot program with electric buses. We were able to employ 3 vehicles on a number of routes. We have absorbed what we learned, and we are now ready to take the next step. This station will charge an electric fleet solely dedicated to the R line. This is our highest ridership corridor in our entire system. And the areas served by the R line have some of the highest poverty rates and highest asthma rates. This is a big win for the passengers of RIPTA, meaning that 20% of all of our riders will be served by electric buses starting next year. Finally, thank you to Senator Reid, Senator Whitehouse, Congressman Langevin, and Congressman Cicilline for their hard work in delivering the funding for this, and for Ryan and the FTA for their support. And it's now my pleasure to ask Governor Dan McKee to come to the podium and give some remarks.
Thank you, Mayor, Director. Thank you so much for your leadership. And as my dad always told me, look at embrace these ideas that come before you as if they're your own, and work as hard as you can to make them happen, make them a reality. And that's exactly what I'm glad that Janet Coit's name was mentioned here, along with the people who have preceded us, Scott, in terms of this effort. But you need leadership to actually make it a reality, and you provided that. So thank you so much, Scott, for doing that. I want to just thank again our senators, our congressional leadership, Senator Reid, Senator Whitehouse, along with Congressman Langevin and along with Congressman Cicilline, for putting us in a place that Rhode Island is right now, leading the Northeast in our economic recovery. That doesn't happen without your leadership, Jack and Sheldon. So thank you so much again for the work that you've done preceding the pandemic, and then the heroic work that you have done out of DC, Washington, on behalf of the people of the state of Rhode Island since the pandemic has started, as we're getting ourselves out of it in an endemic stage, making sure that we're making the investments that we need to make. So thank you for that. Happy to always be here with the mayors, Mayor Hopkins and Elorza, and of course Scott, and the FDA specialist Bartlett. Thank you for being here today. You all play an important role in making this a reality. Today we break ground on a project that is good for all Rhode Islanders. You don't have to live on the R line route or even be a RIPTA passenger to benefit from this program. That's because RIPTA's first fully electric fleet of buses will help us together reach our climate goals that we've established last year when we passed the Act on Climate. And we're committed to supporting Rhode Island's transition to a clean and affordable future. The future must include sustainable transportation. More electric vehicles means less greenhouse gases released into the atmosphere. And that is a key driver of the climate change and pollution-induced health impacts, especially in our frontline communities like Providence and Pawtucket. This project will mean cleaner air in our communities. And again, clean air and the economy are forever linked now in the state of Rhode Island. 2 months ago, I was in Providence at the Capital Good Fund, a company that helps make electric vehicle charging more accessible in their neighborhood. They have a charging station right here in their parking lot. There we announced our electric vehicle rebate program, encouraging Rhode Island residents and businesses to go electric and support the state's progress towards a net zero emissions economy. That's why in my budget we have included $23 million. I gotta watch. You're okay? I'm fine. Okay, yes. Yes. So, again, $23 million in federal funds. I guess that shook up the senator here. Keep the money coming, Jack, please. Keep the money coming. And federal funds in our budget to expand our network of electric vehicle charging stations. Preparing for the future is what Rhode Island is all about. This is a collaborative effort from our partners in the federal government to RIPTA, to municipal leaders, our business community, and all our individuals and advocates for a clean air, a clean environment, and a strong economy. Improving air quality and helping Rhode Island meet our bold but necessary missions is our goal. And today's groundbreaking is an exciting step for that process. Access to public transportation, especially sustainable transportation like this. It is good for the economy. It is good for the people in the state of Rhode Island. And it makes it easier for riders to access jobs, educational opportunities, healthcare across all 39 cities and towns right here in the Ocean State. That access translates into a stronger local economy, which is good, again, for everyone in the Ocean State. So thank you once again to all our partners who have made this possible, and I look forward to seeing the fleet of electric buses on roads across our state and make us the state that is leading this charge, Scott, and showing that we can actually be this leader in Rhode Island and an example for the rest of the country to follow. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you very much, Governor. It is now my pleasure to introduce our senior senator. I'll tell you that when we are together as CEOs of transit agencies, I often hear my colleagues talk about having to go to their congressional delegation to explain the benefits of public transportation. And I always tell them, well, I'm incredibly fortunate because I have an entire congressional delegation who not only understands that, but they've always understood it, and they always deliver to allow us to innovate and do new and creative things. So my pleasure to introduce Senator Jack Reed.
Thanks very much, Scott. Let me recognize and commend the governor and the lieutenant governor for their great leadership, and thank you. And we also have Terry Gray, the DEM acting director, and Nick Ucci. Thank you very much. Special shout out to Scott Ebenezer, who's done a superb job at RIPTA, and his board members that are here today, Bobby Kells, and Jim Dixon, for your service too. Let me also recognize Senator Whitehouse, and he played an absolutely critical role in all of these efforts. And not only that, he has been the leader in the Senate to remind us that climate change is a critical issue, and we have to take every step from electric buses to all sorts of other measures to get it done. And of course, Jim and David are always there making sure we get the job done. Let me also recognize Mayor Hopkins and Mayor Loiza. My slippage over here was a result of talking to the mayor and confirming, as I understood because of my longevity, we're actually in the back of the Palace Theater, which when I was a boy was a social center of Edgewood and South Providence, and now it's a church. So here we are. Today is a great day, and we want to also thank Ryan Bartlett and the Federal Transit Administration. They do a superb job for us. But we're here to celebrate the strides that Ripta's been making in terms of electrification of its fleet, moving from diesel buses to the greener, more sustainable bus fleet for some time now. And this is not only an environmental step forward, it's also a financial step forward. I don't have to remind everybody what the price of diesel is today. And if we would have an entirely electrified fleet, I think the bookkeepers at Ripta would be much, much happier. So this is about economics as well as about climate. And I've been advocating for programs like the low, no emissions bus grant program for years, and we were able to grow that in the last several appropriations bills, and I have the privilege of serving on the appropriations subcommittee for transportation. And we also worked with RIPTA to get $11 million in competitive grants through this low, no emissions program since 2008. And the delegation worked together to get a $4 million earmark this year to support the electrification of buses at Aquidneck Island. So we are within, I think, at least shouting distance of having a fully electrified transit system, the first one in the United States, and that should be our goal. And as Scott, the governor, pointed out, the R line is 20% of the ridership. It also goes through some of the poorest neighborhoods that need transit to get to work, and also they're suffering from asthma. With an electric fleet, that is going to improve not only access, it's also going to improve the quality of life. So we've got more to do. We're working on it, and again, we won't stop until we have a fully electrified electric transit system in the state of Rhode Island, and we'll continue to be number one. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, Senator Reid. It is now my pleasure to introduce our junior senator, Sheldon Whitehouse, who is no stranger to electrification projects and electrification advocacy. We can always count on him to work with us to make sure that we are using cutting-edge technology to be where we need to be in our transit system. And it's my pleasure to welcome Senator Whitehouse.
Thank you, Scott, and congratulations. It's terrific to be here with Senator Reid, with the governor and the lieutenant governor, with Mayor Alorza and Mayor Hopkins, and to recognize the RIPTA board members who've had such an important role in this, Bobby Kells and Jim Vincent. Terry Gray, congratulations. I gather your name is in, so you might be official before too long. I certainly hope so. Commissioner Ucci, good to be with you as always. Particular thanks to Ryan Bartlett from the Federal Transit Administration, and then to National Grid, who've been very helpful through this whole process. And frankly, the more we electrify the fleet, the happier National Grid is going to be. So we're delighted that we're so aligned on this subject. As Jack said, transportation emissions are a very big part of our carbon emissions problem in this state. And in addition, by going electric along the R line, we're going to reduce fumes and particulates and things that are local pollution issues, not just national and international climate issues. So this is really good news. We've got $5 billion in the infrastructure bill for more grants, for more buses, and we've got $3 billion that comes through to Rhode Island in formula, $272 million formula coming to Rhode Island. So there is definitely more to come. And I want to close just with a quick story. As some of you may know, I badger ExxonMobil and the fossil fuel industry. And one of the ways I've badgered them was that ExxonMobil wasn't reporting to its investors what it needed to do to face the problem of climate change. And we finally got a couple of very big investors to join us, and as a result, ExxonMobil had to write a report explaining what it was going to do in a climate hazard future. Well, one of the things that they told the world in that report was that by the year 2040, the number of electric buses and heavy-duty trucks in the world would be 0. And I was concerned about that number because we'd already ordered 3 here in Rhode Island, so I knew that was wrong. And China has I don't know, a couple 100,000 running now, and you could see this pipeline emerging. So I just want you all to know that as important as this day is, as far as Exxon is concerned, none of this is happening. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Senator Whitehouse. I also want to make mention that we have representatives of Congressman Langevin and Congressman Cicilline here as well. And we're sorry that they could not join us, but happy to have their representatives here. It's now my pleasure to introduce our Lieutenant Governor, Sabina Matos. So Sabina and I became friends when we were Rodel Fellows at the Aspen Institute together. And that is a bipartisan think tank group that has been operating now since 2005. And we recently got to spend a weekend in Washington meeting with our colleagues. And I got to tell you, it was wonderful to watch their faces when our new Lieutenant Governor walked in the room, and just the incredible amount of pride that they had that Sabina was serving as our Lieutenant Governor. So welcome, and we look forward to your comment.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Scott. It's truly a pleasure for me every time I have the opportunity to spend time with you. Thank you. I just want to say we are so lucky because, as the director was telling us right now, just going into a bipartisan event like we were and talking about the great access that we have to our federal delegation and how they understand the needs of our community. They don't understand that. We had those conversations like, what? You talk to your senator, you see them, you talk to your congress member, and we are so fortunate here in the state of Rhode Island, and we have to recognize how fortunate we are, and also recognize Senator Reid and Senator Whitehouse, Congressman Langevin and Cicilline for everything that they do to bring resources to the state of Rhode Island. And as the senator reminded us all today at our earlier event, they've worked really hard to bring resources to the state, and then the governor puts together a good plan for us to spend it right here. So that's the way to do it. I'm honored to be here also with our colleagues in the Mayor Hopkins and Mayor Elorza. It's always a pleasure to be back. You know, have that connection to city government somehow. And also, I want to thank Governor McKee for the effort that he's making sure he's putting to work together with our directors to get things done. It's always a pleasure for me when I have the opportunity to work with Director Abedisha, also with Director Grade and Commissioner Uchi, because they get it. They're making a priority for us to work to make sure that we start getting ourselves prepared for the climate change that is coming. Climate change is real. And they're making sure that we're working in a way in which we're including everyone, that not community is gonna be left behind. And I appreciate so much the work that we do together. And I'm looking forward to continue to be your partner and continue to work with you to ensure that our community is ready for what is coming. And we are resilient for what is gonna happen in climate change. So thank you so much for what you do. I appreciate all of the work that you do, directors, and I'm looking forward to continue working with you.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. So this is an interesting project because it straddles the cities of Cranston and Providence. So we're fortunate that we have good local municipal partners, and I'd like to ask Mayor Ken Hopkins to come to the podium now.
Thank you, Mayor. I love these bipartisan events. It's like 10 Democrats and 1 Republican. Is that bipartisan, Senator? And I love the fact that we're going electric too. My last birthday, Governor, my kids gave me an electric razor, an electric blanket, and an electric chair. Can't figure that one out, which one I'm supposed to use. Welcome. Actually, the mayor and I were just talking. That fence is the dividing line between Cranston and Providence. So I think we're on the Providence side of this.
On the border.
And Senator Reid made a comment to me. Look, see, he's still quick. He still has that LaSalle football athleticism. Thank you. He mentioned to me that when we were kids, this used to be the Palace Theater. Well, I'm not sure when you were a kid, but I don't remember the Palace Theater.
Well, you know, it's not a movie.
No. And as we speak tomorrow night, the historic Park Theater is reopening, so we're very excited about that. I'm pleased to be here today to celebrate this occasion. Again, our honored guest, Lieutenant Governor, both senators, and my good friend Mayor Alorza. This event is an important symbol of moving our state into a healthier, more sustainable future. It serves as an example to the rest of the country that we all can do our part in achieving these goals. Public transportation is extremely crucial to the residents of Cranston. Across the state, our residents depend on RIPTA to continue to commute to work on a daily basis. And many of those, I refer to them as a vulnerable population. I'm pleased that by transitioning to a fully electric bus route, our vulnerable population will be better served. This investment in green technology is a positive step towards making Rhode Island a healthier state by lowering emissions and reducing the negative impacts of pollution. Thank you for being here today. Thank you again to our congressional delegation, especially my good friend from Cranston, Senator Reed, for getting the funding for this. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mayor. It's now my pleasure to introduce my colleague, who we've served as mayors together. It is a pleasure to have our host mayor and our host city here, and I'll ask Mayor Alorza to bring some remarks.
Thank you, Scott. Good morning, everybody. And I want to add my voice and give thanks to all the different people who made this possible. Our senators who are always representing us so well in Washington, Governor McKee, LG, your entire teams. We appreciate your leadership on this. Mayor Hopkins, always appreciate the partnership. The FTA. Also want to recognize a couple folks that are here with us as well. We have Jim Vincent representing the NAACP. You know, your presence is always appreciated, regardless of the issue. Want to give a shout out to National Grid as well. We appreciate your partnership. And Bond Brothers. Someone has to do the work, and you know, brothers and sisters who do the heavy lifting, quite literally. We appreciate you. So we know that transportation represents one of the largest sections of climate change pollution here in our state. Climate change, unfortunately, is threatening our way of life and is threatening the future of our city and our state. So it's so critical that we work to eliminate climate pollution from transportation networks, energy systems, and our waste stream. Transitioning our transportation network from dirty diesel energy to clean electricity is just a smart decision for all of us, and particularly for our neighborhoods. These electric vehicles, they're going to keep asthma irritants that are exhausted from diesel motors. It's going to keep them out of the air that we breathe. It's going to drive down asthma rates. And this healthy air means less sick time for our kids and more time that they can spend enjoying our neighborhood schools and parks. These new inline bus charging stations, and of course these electric buses, they align with the city's climate justice plan. In Providence, we've installed new charging infrastructure at several locations. And we also recently purchased 15 new electric vehicles that are already operating as part of the city's fleet. Together, we're working to keep air and climate pollution out of our neighborhoods, and this strategy is going to help create the pathway to becoming a carbon neutral city by 2050. Congratulations to RIPTA and the state of Rhode Island for helping us move to this clean energy future. And thank you to all of our partners on this project for your assistance, your leadership, and in helping the city of Providence become a greener and cleaner city, along with the state of Rhode Island. On behalf of the city and all of our residents, we appreciate your work, Governor, RIPTA, our senators, Mayor Hopkins, everyone involved to make our neighborhood safer, cleaner, and environmentally friendly. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you, Mayor Alorza. So As you've heard, it's our congressional delegation and the urging of the governor and lieutenant governor and our mayors to push us forward. But our best partner in New England is the FTA. And representing FTA today, and Pete Butler, our administrator, is Ryan Bartlett, who is the FTA's Transportation Program Specialist. And I'd like to ask Ryan to come to the podium.
Well, thank you, Scott, and good morning, everyone. On behalf of Secretary Buttigieg, FTA Administrator Fernandez, and our Regional Administrator Peter Butler, very excited to be here in Cranston to celebrate the groundbreaking for RIPTA's R-Line charging facility with all of you. And I want to thank Senator Reid and Senator Whitehouse for your continued support and advocacy for improving public transportation in communities across Rhode Island. Thanks to your dedication and leadership in working to pass the bipartisan infrastructure law, FTA has more resources than ever to invest in projects like this that connect Americans to jobs, healthcare, education, entertainment, and much more. So thank you. FTA is proud to support RIPTA's transition to a cleaner and greener bus fleet. This electric bus inline charging station will help RIPTA advance its goals and improve air quality and address our global climate crisis. FTA is committed to supporting zero-emission bus projects through our low or no emission vehicle program and the additional resources available under the bipartisan infrastructure law to advance sustainable transit initiatives. This is a really exciting time to work in transit, and I'm looking forward to attending the ribbon cutting here and to more events like this one. Now let's get to work on a transit project that will truly make a difference. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. So I just want to thank all of the RIPTA employees that are here. I don't see our ATU president, but I see our vice president. One of the things that, secretary. One of the things that we have really tried to look at with every project, whether it be the Pawtucket Central Falls train station and bus hub, or the R-Line and the DTC at Rhode Island Hospital. This facility will also have restroom facilities for our drivers, which is, believe it or not, one of the biggest issues that our drivers are confronted with each and every day. So taking into consideration what the union needed to have happen as part of this project is a really good process for us to go through, and this is a big win not only for our riders but for our drivers as well. And with that, I'm going to ask our speakers to come over for a ceremonial groundbreaking, and then people will be available for questions.